Back it up, Audrey. Don't judge me. Methinks thou doth protest too much. I was like, don't threaten me with a good time. I have books 1 and 3. And why am I holding up 2? So I actually am that dumb. UK covers rule the world. Tell me everything and then some. Okay. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse and welcome to a book haul video. Slight change of scene. If you've been here for half a minute, my new couch came and I'm excitedly sitting on top of it. Also, if you've been here for a minute, you maybe heard me yammer on, talk about how I'm finally dipping my toes in the declutter situation, which I'm doing. So basically my normal setup by my bookshelf has a whole bunch of stuff in front of it. So this is like the technically cleanest area to film in right now, the least cluttered area to film right now. So I can comfortably sit. I've got a bunch of books around me. I filmed my last book haul like right after the holidays. I want to say it went up in early February, but these are books from January, February, March, and a week into April. So up front, I have not read a lot of them. I'm ashamed to say. I'm not quite in a slump, but I'm having an attention issue mixed with everything I talked about in that catch-up video where I feel like I talked about my attention issue, but like work, life, trying to write my book, trying to do my decluttering, family, like there's just a lot going on. So I'm very excited about these books. There's some pre-orders I'm looking. I've read a couple of them. Let's just get into it. Okay, so these are not going to be in the order that I bought them because that would be nuts. So we're just going to dive on in. So the first book I have is A Beauty Queen's Guide to Murder and Mayhem by Kristen Bird. I have read this book. So I had the e-arc of this. I worked with Kristen on her launch for this book. And this came out in March, like very end of March, very end of February. It's available. This is the first in a new 3-book series that she did. So this, I would say, is kind of in the vein of Finley Donovan, Everyone on Vacation, like every time I go on vacation somebody dies, the Expectant Mother series. And this is about a woman named Dakota, and she is, it says, a stable hand Dakota Green would rather compete in the Hunger Games than in Aubergine's annual beauty pageant. But her late mother's last wish is about to see her trading her muck boots for Jimmy Choos and uncover a decades-old mystery of a missing beauty queen. So she joins this beauty queen competition in her small town, and old case, new mystery, small town vibes, closed group of people, all in this beautiful mansion for the weekend for this beauty pageant, and it's a lot of fun. So I think like the wit, the snark, the humor of Finley, this would definitely be for you. And this is I would say like a deviation from Kristen's first 3 books, which I also equally loved, but very fun. So I want to say the next one comes out in July and then the third one in November. So no better time than now to jump on in. I'm going to talk a lot about the books I have read because when we get to the books I haven't read, there's not going to be as much to say. I feel like I want to space out the books I have and haven't read. Okay, let's jump to Serial Killer Games by Kate Posey. This is next up on my physical TBR, by which I mean not an audiobook. So this comes out the end of the month, April 29th. This was gifted to me from Berkeley, and this is, I think probably also, I feel like in a Finley Donovan-esque vibe. So this is what would you do if you thought your coworker was getting away with murder literally? So Dolores thinks the new office temp is a serial killer, and then she winds up needing his help to help dispose of a body. So I'm very interested in this. So I feel like there's going to be some romance, some good humor, definitely like some dark humor snark to it. And I'm very excited for this one. Also love a book set in an office environment setting. I love the temp, like the temp who kills. Sign me up. So that is coming up next. Let me zhuzh it up. Some books I've read, some books I haven't. Okay. All right. I feel like I'm going to have a case of deja vu. This is Wilderness by B.E. Jones. I talked about this TV show that I watched on Amazon Prime in my Q1 catch-up. So I did watch the TV show on Amazon Prime, not realizing it was a book until I started to watch it. Was not going to quit watching it because I enjoyed it so much. Also was like, look at me, like discovering new shows. And I think that show was like 2 years old. So I wound up getting the book. I haven't read it yet. I don't know how similar the book is to the show, but I'm excited. I really loved sort of the dark, delicious humor of that one and the evilness. So it's about this woman fantasizing about murdering her husband because she found out that he had an affair. So they go on kind of a road trip like around Yosemite, and we'll see. So I'm very curious to see how close this is to the show. I loved the show, but I'm excited to read this one. And this came out, let's see, this came out in 2019. I had not even heard of this. I hadn't even heard of the show. You know me, I live under a rock when it comes to a lot of TV stuff, but very excited for this one. There should be a rhythm, but there isn't. Okay, next up is another book that was gifted to me from Berkeley. I talked about this in my April new releases. This is Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. So this is the one night stand that like just won't quit because they go on his boat and there's a bit of a miscommunication between who's going to tie it up to the, who's going to tie the boat up. So they wake up the next morning, like out at sea, nothing but water all around them. So the one night stand that you can't escape because you're literally stranded on a boat with him. I think it's going to be a really fun time. So I did read The Flat Share a few years ago. I enjoyed her writing and her storytelling, and I think this is going to be fun as well. Don't know if it's steamy, but after I read it, I'll let you know, and I'll tell you all about it. So up on my TBR. Okay, a book I have read, The Unlucky Ones by Hannah Morrissey. I finally got my pre-order. I shouldn't say finally. When I talked about this in my review video, my recent reads, the pre-order hadn't arrived yet. Or had it? I don't think it had. I don't think it had. Anyway, here she is. Love her. This is book 4 in the Black Harbor series. This is... So, back it up, Audrey. The Black Harbor series, if you are not familiar, is similar to the Dublin Murder Squad series in that in this case, the town is the thread. Dublin Murder Squad, it's the Dublin Murder Squad. So as much as you don't need to read these books in order, and you can absolutely dive in right here in book 4, I highly recommend you read the first book, Hello Transcriber, first, because the main characters from that book do reappear in this book, and I just think it's more fun that way. But I absolutely loved this. I hesitate to talk too much about it because I don't want to ruin anything from book 1, but we have Hazel and Cole, and we have... This is set right around 4th of July. The other 3 books are all set in like kind of dead of winter. So where those are like Arctic and brutal, this is like brutally hot. We've got fresh murders on page 1. We have cases to solve. We've got some really bad dudes. We've got some really bad criminals. And we get to see a lot of characters throughout the entire series show up in this. But again, you don't need to read all 3 books before you read it. But read Hello Transcriber because it's amazing, and then come read this one. It's fantastic. I loved it. I cried. Hannah Morrissey has my whole heart. She's a fantastic writer. Gritty, dark, messed up, violent, all the things I love in a book. So good. It's so, so good. And then in a complete 180, Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. This is by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This was also gifted to me from Berkeley. Berkeley has just buried me in kindness. This is the second book in the Vera Wong series. This definitely has more of a cozy vibe to it. So Vera Wong is, I'm not sure how old she is. I feel like maybe 60s, 70s, based on her little face here. And she's going to solve a new mystery. So the first book had a mystery in it that gets solved. And now Vera is back. And in this one, it is a missing influencer. And she's trying to help her son's new girlfriend by helping to solve this. Because Vera helped solve the mystery of book number 1. So she's back. She's back. She's back. So I have read Jessie Q. Sutanto's adult thrillers and YA thrillers. So now I'm going to get into her adult cozies. But I love her as an author. Following her, literally writing her books on her Instagram is absolutely fascinating. But her writing is great. Her storytelling is great. I'm in. Okay, a book that I think I talked a good game about in my last video that I was going to read it immediately and put it on my nightstand is You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. I 1000% put this on my nightstand, and I 1000% read 1 chapter, and just my brain broke, and I have not continued with it. Not the book, me. I can't. focus. I can't, I just, I don't know. Brain is broken. So UK cover, 6 thriller authors, 1 writing retreat. How do you escape a killer who wrote the book on murder? Isolated island, isolated location. We have 6 best-selling thriller writers. Accept an invitation without question from the legendary mystery author J.R. Alistair. His assistant is there to make sure everything runs smoothly. And it says it's an opportunity any author would kill for. What should have been a week of trope-filled games takes a sinister turn when one guest is found dead and the others find themselves in the midst of a nightmare drawn from Alistair's dark imagination. So I did show this on the other video, but I never want to assume everybody saw that. So gorgeous, gorgeous. I've heard great things about this book. I'm excited for it. I need to be in the right mindset because the last thing I want to do is dive into a book I'm excited about when my brain is not in the right place and not give the book the fair shake it needs. Plus, I love a book about writers. I love an isolated thriller. When my time is right, we are going to have a moment together. Okay, more books that I haven't read. First is Sweet Fury. This is by Sash Bishkoff. I saw Grace Atwood talk about this a few months ago. I had not heard of this book either. This came out in January. Totally not on my radar. I sort of like waited and waited and waited. Found a deal and I picked it up. So I haven't read it yet, but we have a beloved actress is cast in a feminist adaptation of a Fitzgerald classic and finds herself the victim in a deadly game of revenge in which everyone on screen and off is playing a part. So this is about Lila Crane, and she's America's sweetheart. She's generous and kind, gorgeous and magnetic. She and her fiancé, the visionary filmmaker Kurt Royal, have settled into a stunning new West Village apartment and are set to begin to film an adaptation of Tender as the Night. So Lila begins working with the charming and accomplished therapist Jonah Gabriel to prepare for her leading role and to dig into the trauma of her past. Soon Lila's impeccably manicured life begins to unravel on the therapy couch, and Jonah is just the man to pick up the pieces. But everyone has a secret and no one is quite who they seem. Yes, please. So I had not heard of Sash Bishkoff. She is a writer and theater director. She's worked on Broadway and off. Broadway and national tours include Dear Evan Hansen, The Visit, On the Town. I love that show. How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, and Shrek. Grew up as an actor. So very excited, and I'm still obsessed with this cover. I will let you know. The cover blurb says cunningly ambitious, twisty, and immersive. Okay. And then I did pick up All That Life Can Afford by Emily Everett in my April new releases. I was like, don't threaten me with a good time. And pre-ordering a book that just the description of it makes me just ooze with excitement. And then it wound up being a Reese's Book Club. I know this is like great for everybody. This beautiful cover. I'm very excited for her. So congrats on the Reese's Book Club. Haven't started it yet because I haven't started any of these yet. And this is the one where it opens with, I would arrive blank like a sheet of notebook paper and write myself new. I loved it the first time I read it. I love it again. This is the Pride and Prejudice retelling, which I am not here to sell you on a Jane Austen book because I am not the one who knows anything about Jane Austen. But it says Anna first fell in love with London in her hometown library. It's Jane Austen Ball's a far cry from her life of food stamps and hand-me-downs. When she finally arrives after college, the real London is a moldy apartment and the same paycheck-to-paycheck grind. The fairy tale still out of reach. So she meets the Wilders, who fly her Then Anna meets the Wilders, who fly her to Saint-Tropez to tutor their teenage daughter. Swept up by the Sphinx-like elder sister, Anna soon finds herself plunged into a heady whirlpool of parties and excess, a place where confidence is a birthright. So she meets some men. She's got someone who wants to whisk her away into his chauffeured car. She's trying to outrun her past. She's stepped into the pages of a glittering new novel, but what will it cost for her to play her part? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I will let you know when I find out. Gosh, I just love this cover so much. Love it, love it, love it. And then I have another book that was sent to me. This is from Hyperion Avenue. This is Tell Them You Lied by Laura Loeffler. This comes out in May 25th. And this is two New York artists' tumultuous friendship gets turned on its head when one of them goes missing and the other may be to blame. I love toxic female friendships. It says a riveting debut for readers of Bunny, Luckiest Girl Alive, and Who is the Bad Art Friend. I wouldn't let you get to me anymore, especially not on the day everything between us would change. I allowed myself a moment to picture it. You, crossing 10th Avenue, on your way to the gallery, platinum hair glinting in the sun, a slice of stomach peeking out between your skirt and top. We'd become so accustomed to the city's eyes on us, the ogling and catcalling and sweaty faces, the tongues flicked between split fingers, the scurrilous shouts from passing cars. It meant nothing to us, and because of that, I knew you wouldn't sense the danger in just another man, in another impotent pair of eyes. But the danger was there, Willow, because this man wasn't just watching, he was waiting. He was holding a knife. I knew that because I paid him to be there. What? I'm so excited for this book. This, talk about like a book right up my alley. The quote in the front of it from Andy Warhol is, "Art is whatever you can get away with." She's trying to get away with murder. I'm very excited for it. So it's about Anna and Willow. Tell me everything and then some. Okay. Just a few more. This came out in January. This is The Note by Alifair Burke. This was one of my first pre-order. Like I pre-ordered this last fall. I got this from Murder by the Book. I don't think I've shown you guys this one before. If I have, apologies. This is one of her standalone books. It's also very kindly autographed. And by kindly, I just mean like, you can get autographed books from Murder by the Book if you're interested. So she did a book event there and did autographed books, which is super exciting. And I'm a huge fan of Alifair Burke's. So I have read everything she's written except her first 3-book series, Samantha Kincaid. I have books 1 and 3. And why am I holding up 2? 1 and 3 from that series. I've been trying to find book 2. I know you can get like a digital version of it, but I was looking for I have the hardcovers of 1 and 3. Anyway, Diva. So this is about a group of friends. It was meant to be a harmless prank. So May has always been so good, well-behaved, top of her class, a compulsive rule follower. Raised by a first-generation Chinese single mother with high expectations, May didn't have room to slip up. But even good girls have secrets. So she is out in the Hamptons with longtime friends Lauren and Kelsey, a reunion getaway, just a few days of sun and fun. And since you know it's a thriller, you know that's not gonna happen. So a drunken prank goes horribly awry. I have like a flashback to the first time I read this and everybody corrected me how to say that. I just want to say like horribly awry, but I feel like that's not. I feel like that's not right. Anyway, we're going to say went horribly awry and May finds herself at the center of an urgent police investigation. I feel like as soon as I sit here and I'm like, I'm really not that dumb. I know how to say words, but then I come on here and there's a whole bunch of words I don't know how to say, so I actually am that dumb. And if I have to tell you I'm not dumb, methinks thou doth protest too much, but some words just don't compute. There's nothing like putting yourself out here and admitting that you don't know some words. Anyway, they get stuck in a police investigation and you know things are going to go terribly bad or terribly well for the reader. But I am a huge fan of Alifair Burke and I haven't read her Mary Higgins Clark books. So I've read her, everything she's written by like on her own except for the Samantha Kincaid series. So her Ellie Hatcher series is one of my favorites. That's how I discovered her. And then she has 6 standalone books. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan. So, also love this cover a ton. Very excited for it. And then more books I haven't read from Book of the Month. Thank you so much. This is Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. I have heard this is a great slump buster of a book. So maybe I should prioritize this one. Thriller. This was part of the March Book of the Month Club selections. So you would have seen it in that video that I did. And this one says, I'm here to help. I'm your friend. You can trust me. So we have Sloane Caraway as a liar, harmless lies mostly, to make her self-proclaimed sad little life a little bit more interesting. So when Sloane So when Sloane sees a young girl, tongue twister, in tears at a park one afternoon, she can't help herself. She tells the girl's very attractive dad she's a nurse and helps him pull a bee sting from the child's foot. So with this chance encounter, she becomes a nanny for the wealthy and privileged household of Jay and Violet Lockhart. Yikes. The perfect New York couple with a brownstone, a daughter in private school, and summers on Block Island. But maybe Sloane isn't the only one lying, and all that's picture perfect harbors a much more dangerous truth. To say anything more is to spoil the most exciting, twisty, bitingly smart suspense novel to come out in years. Be careful what you lie for. So we're going to put this, I mean, like it matters. We're going to put this on the right. It's like, read sooner. Okay, a book that I'm very excited about, which I also feel like I threatened you guys that I was going to buy it, and I finally did. And not that I waited that long. This is Other People's Houses by Claire McIntosh. This is the third book in the D.I. Fionn Morgan series. So this came out in the UK in February, March, let's say. Comes out in the US in the fall. So I read the first two books in the series. I really enjoy it. I very much enjoy Claire McIntosh. I own the UK editions of this book, the first two, so it kind of like jazzed me even more. And they always do like a little something special on the cover. So it says, even on the most desirable street, there's a dark side. I love it. UK covers rule the world. And then there's like a couple little birds over here on the side. So again, book 3 in the D.I. Fionn Morgan series. And it says, the Hill is the kind of place everyone wants to live. Luxurious, exclusive, and safe. But now someone is breaking and entering these Cheshire homes one by one, and D.S. Leo Brady suspects the burglar is looking for something or someone in particular. Over the border in Wales, D.C. Fionn Morgan recovers the body of an estate agent from the lake. There's no love lost between Fionn and estate agents, but who hated this one enough to want her dead, and why? So again, which is the theme in the first in the first two books. Their cases are going to collide, and Fionn and Leo have to discover the truth together. And they discover people will pay a high price to keep their secrets behind closed doors. So Fionn is in the Wales side, Leo is on the England side, and lots of things happen in this lake, which is the border between Wales and England. And it's always a little bit like, is it mine? Is it yours? Is it ours? So the mysteries wind up becoming like a shared event, which makes for a good time. So Claire McIntosh is fantastic. This series is fantastic. It's police investigation, but there's definitely like some great humor and wit to it. So it's not as dark or straight up as a Hannah Morrissey, by which I mean like there's not really any humor in this. This has some very funny moments in it, but also police investigation. So maybe one of these or both of them will scratch an itch. They both scratch an itch of mine. Okay. Yeah, I haven't read any of these either. Okay, another book from the March Book of the Month selection. This is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. Olivia Mentor from Bad on Paper raved about this book before it came out and totally put it on my radar. So when it was a selection, I picked it up. Again, this is a mood. Every book is a mood. I'm a firm believer. Books find you when they're supposed to. So this one, we have Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica. And a woman winds up washing up on shore, mysteriously. And there's some mystery to this. There is, I'm like, kind of want to read ahead, but kind of don't want to read ahead. So it says the woman, Rowan, begins to feel like she might just be what they need, this family. So Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone else. So I think there's like some family stuff. There's some mystery stuff. Again, I've heard really great things about it. And when my brain is in the right spot, I will read it. Okay, the next one is probably one of the most exciting free little library finds I have had in ages. This is Cross My Heart by Megan Collins. I was very much looking forward to this book. At the beginning of the year, I was definitely in a don't buy stuff, and most of these books happened in February, March. I was real good in January, so I held off on buying this, and I just like the universe threw me a bone one day when I absolutely needed it, and it's perfect. It's like hardcover, great condition, the whole nine. I'm very excited for it. And it says, she has his wife's heart. The one she wants is his. So Rosie Loughlin wants nothing more than to find the one. A year after she was dumped in her wedding dress, Rosie is working at her parents' bridal salon, anxious for a happy ending that can't come soon enough. As the recipient of a life-saving heart transplant, she knows her health is precious and precarious. And she suspects her heart donor, Daphne Thorne, the wife of local celebrity author Morgan Thorne, who she begins messaging via an anonymous service called Donor Connect, ostensibly to learn more about Daphne. Oh, I totally read the beginning of that sentence wrong. She suspects Daphne was the donor. But Rosie has a secret. She is convinced that now that she has his wife's heart, she and Morgan are meant to be together. So I am very interested to see what happens here. And the dedication in this one is for anyone who relates to The Prophecy by Taylor Swift, and for every woman who's ever been called crazy by someone she loves. So I am right there for this book. I've heard great things about it. So that's a thing. And then I also picked up Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. This was another one that I heard about on Bad on Paper, and I also heard about in a bunch of other places. I love me a music book. I haven't read it yet. And yeah, so I bought this and here we are. It's the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I'm like, what makes it special? I don't know if it has a different cover. I feel like maybe it has a different cover than the other books. It doesn't have anything different on the naked cover. I feel like maybe the cover is different than the other ones. So this is a Friday afternoon at a campus bar in Berkeley in the fall of 2000, and Percy Marks is pontificating about music again. Hall & Oates is on the jukebox, and Percy, who has no talent for music, just lots of opinions about it, can't stop herself from overanalyzing the song, indulging what she knows to be her most annoying habit. But something is different tonight. The guy beside her at the bar, fellow student Joe Morrow, is a songwriter, and he could listen to Percy talk all night. So Joe asks Percy for feedback on one of his songs, and the results kick off a partnership that will span years, ignite new passions in them both, and crush their egos again and again. Is their collaboration worth its cost? Or is it holding Percy back from finding her own voice? So we go from Brooklyn bars to San Francisco dance floors, and I'm here for all of it. I've also heard great things about this book. I love a music book, and I'll let you know when I read it. All of them. When I read it, I will let you know. Okay. Home stretch. First book, next book. The book I've got right here. This is The Library Game by Gigi Pandian. This was also sent to me. This is from Minotaur. This is the fourth book in the Secret Staircase series. I am currently reading this one. I would say I'm like 60% into this book. So I talked about this in my wrap up. I do think you can dive into these books. Like, you don't have to read them in order. She will ground you with who the characters are. There are allusions to past mysteries, but not spoilers. So you can like read this one and then go back and read other ones. So in this one, we are once again following Tempest Raj. She is working for her dad's business, the Secret Staircase Construction Company, and they're finally getting the recognition they deserve. And in this one, they're transforming a home into a public library. And in this one, we kind of get like a dead body that maybe wasn't, that goes missing. There's a bit of an escape room vibe to it. And kind of in all of these books, somebody important to Tempest is either sort of like accused of being involved in the crime or is maybe a target of the crime. So she is motivated to help solve it. One of the things I'm really enjoying about this book, so I found like the first three books, there's one overarching mystery that kind of goes through all three, and then each book sort of has another mystery that's resolved. This to me, in some ways, almost feels like the new Finley Donovan book, which I don't know if I've reviewed yet. Don't judge me. I feel like this is like a clean slate. So the fifth Finley Donovan book, I feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff that was like happened in the first four books. There were things that carried over book to book. There were things that were resolved. And now it's like same characters, but like new storylines. I feel like this has a similar vibe to it where we have resolved things from like the original trilogy, and now we're kind of starting fresh, kind of like with Truly Devious, about the box in the woods, new mystery, same characters. I also feel like we have a tighter group of characters in this, or I was telling somebody this, I'm like, or because I'm into book 4 and I know everybody so well, everything feels much more familiar to me, but I'm very much enjoying it. I love the library aspect. There were some things in the like escape room part where like there's different clues of like how to get out of the escape room, and I actually knew both of the clues and I got super giddy about it. I mean, they weren't like real hard if you're a mystery reader, but still I felt so smart. So don't know how to pronounce a bunch of words, but certainly felt a little bit smart here. And then my grand finale, Ashley Winstead, This Book Will Bury Me. I read the arc of this in December. I 1000% felt like I read this year, but I did not. I read it in December. So my pre-order came. I am super excited about it. I have not yet dove into, I shouldn't say my pre-order came. I ran out and bought this ahead of time. So I was pre-ordering it, and then I had a suspicion it might be. So this time the battery didn't die. My memory card was full. Okay, let's talk about Ashley. So I suspected it might be out on the shelves early in the store, and it was, so I went out and bought it ahead of pub day. Anyway, I've already read it once. I'm excited to read it again. I'm a little bit tempted to listen to the audiobook, but I also kind of want to read it. But what I have not dove into, which is what I was starting to say when my camera very rudely cut me off, is in the back of this book, which didn't exist in the digital arc of it, there's a note on all the sources she used, and I was listening to an interview with her, because of course I was, where she talks a lot about how she was like, it was too bad, like she couldn't have included all of this in the digital arc of it. So it's a lot about the sources that she used. She did like some deep dive research for this book, and I'm excited to like read into her note on the sources. There is a reading group guide, and then there's a conversation with Ashley at the end of it. So as I talked about, like a lot of this is her working through her grief about her father passing away very suddenly. And she talks about how a lot of the beginning of this book, which is when our main character Jane finds out her father has passed away suddenly, is very true to Ashley Winstead's experience. So this is definitely her most personal book to date. And you can feel, I feel like you can feel how personal and how real it is, and the Romana Clef of this book. So it's based on true life events, the kind of like hints of the Gabby Petito case, of the Idaho 4 case. She cites another one, which I did not pick up on. Let me see if it's referenced in here. So kind of to a certain point, things will be very familiar if you're familiar with those cases. You don't need to be familiar with any of those cases, but it's the kind of thing like if you know, you know, and if you don't, you're fine. And then it turns. So what's also really interesting is if some people think this is like a complete retelling of Idaho, but it's not. So there's definitely things that will be familiar and then changes that happen, but it's really about this group of 5 amateur sleuths who, for each reason of their own, find comfort in the dark web and true crime and armchair detecting, and they form this band of true crime solvers together, and they're each working through something, and it's like the only place where Jane feels good and comfortable and safe and connected with these people. And when this murder breaks in Idaho, and it's the biggest case that anyone's heard about, there is sort of some competition among the true crime groups, and they are committed to being the ones who are going to solve this case. And it's so beautifully written. Like, the impact of the grief is really powerful. The thriller mystery aspect of it is really strong. I love the 5 main characters in this book, and the mystery of what happened, the murders, is really interesting as well. And this book is told 1 year after the murders, and it's told from Jane's perspective of like, you think you know, but I'm gonna tell you what actually happened. And she kind of breaks the fourth wall, and she's talking to us as the reader. I love the style of it. I love the writing. You guys know I am an Ashley Winstead diehard fan, so it should come to nobody's surprise that I love this book. But also super exciting, wait for it, Ashley Winstead and Hannah Morrissey's books both came out on the same day, and they both became USA Today bestsellers, which is also super exciting. So I love my ladies. I'm so excited for them. If you have not read these books, you absolutely must. If you are looking for recommendations, these I read, I can recommend to you guys. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Me and a whole lot of books on my new couch, which I'm very happy about being on my new couch. So that's what's going on here. I am really hoping to break out of this slump, which again is not so much a slump as just like a time situation. I have a very hard time reading just like 3 pages of a book before I just want to fall asleep at night. So I have not had chunks of time to, I have chunks of time that I could read, but that means I'm not doing something else. And again, I'm still really trying to focus on writing. So I've been listening to books, but I really want to read. So reading The Library Game, and I started listening to the new Emily Henry book, Great Big Beautiful Life. I have the e-arc of it. And then I got an advanced reader copy or advanced listening copy from Libro FM, which Queen Julia Whalen reads. So I was listening to it. Then I did a little bit of reading. Then I was listening and I did a little bit of reading. So I would love to physically read it, but I might wind up going back to the audio just because I really want to know what's going to happen. I'm like at the 50% mark and, TBD. So when next we meet, I will let you know where I'm at with reading. But that is the recent-ish first quarter haul of 2024, 2025. Oh my God. What year is it? Did I tell you it's Friday afternoon and I'm fried? Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for being here, for watching, for listening. Let me know. What have you hauled lately? Which of these books, if my brain cooperates, would you recommend I read? I think I'm gonna read Serial Killer Games first. But let me know. Let me know what you think. Doesn't have to be one of these, but this is what I'm leaning towards next. But as a mood reader, I reserve the right to change my mind. So you're gonna have to tune in to the next video and find out what's going on, and I'll let you know. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.